All right, I'm going to show you this 53-week calendar for 2018. And the JavaScript is pretty easy. We've only got 3 functions in the external JavaScript. And the style is not bad either. It's kind of a pretty simple page. Basically, the entire page revolves around a table. And the redundant code is when we actually look at the HTML code itself for the web page. I'm going to go over the style first, even before I show you what this looks like in the web browser. And I'm going to do this as quickly as possible because I've done this about 3 or 4 times and I come up with an hour each. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to highlight this. If you want to copy this so that you have the same project and then you could make alterations after the fact, then just hit the pause button, copy it, and then move on. So we've got that section. Now I'm going to move on. Pause it if you need to. All right, that's it for the style CSS. Now let's look at the bulldozer.js. I've got 3 functions here. Instead of just highlighting it and not explaining this at all, I'm going to explain. 3 functions: save my stuff, load my stuff, and remove my stuff. And this is revolving around local storage, browser local storage. So for the function save my stuff, we use a loop that will do these instructions from here to here 371 times. And it's going to increment by 1 every time through the loop. So 1 starts off as 1, and then it does all these instructions, and then 1 turns into 2, I turns into 2, and then it does all these instructions again with I having the value of 2. So on the very first iteration, var value equals document.getElementById by ID parentheses job plus I. What this means is job1 dot value. So var value equals document.getElementById by ID job1 dot value. If I typed anything into the first available text area for January 1st of 2018, whatever I type in that text area is going to go into this variable called value. At which point we have the second statement, local storage.setItem, and in parentheses on the left hand side of the comma we have a key, and on the right hand side we have a value. Well, whatever the value is, this key plus I means key 1. So key 1, we can use key 1 to delete it. We could use key 1 to bring it back after we've left the browser and we come back. That's what local storage is all about, creating key value pairs. You give me the key value pair, and if I want to get rid of it or bring it back, I'm going to do it with the key. Because I used this phrase right here, local storage.setItem. Set what? Set this key value pair. Together. Togetherness, they're a team. Yay! Now, the very first text area that we have in this web page is going to be the last day of 2017. So I've disabled that text area, so there will not be a value. We cannot type a value even if we try. So when we get to this if condition, if value, that will be false. So from this curly brace to this curly brace, this all gets ignored. And it gets to the end of the for. I goes from 1 to 2, it goes back up here and does everything all over again, but this time var value equals document.getElementById by ID job2.value, local storage.setItem, in parentheses key 2, comma value. If value, well in this case I can type something in because it's January 1st, 2018, and I'm going to when I run the program to show you how it works. There will be a value. So the value will go into this. We will set it with a key 2 with whatever I type, and then this will be true, and then it will do this. Document.getElementById, in parentheses, the value of this will be job2, and our text area will have the ID of job 2 at that point as well. Dot style dot color equals red. So we're going to save something, we're going to turn its color red, and we're also going to pop up an alert box that says hi iteration plus I, because as I run this code, I want to see the for loop in action. I's value is 2, I's value is 50, I's value is 371. Wherever I make a change in the text area, that loop is going to catch that job ID of that text area, and it's going to do this whole thing over and over again everywhere we need to make a change and save it. So it's going to say hi iteration plus 2 plus a space and a colon plus whatever I typed in. Like if I said hi there, hi iteration 2 colon hi there. All right, that saved my stuff. That's the gist of it. Let's look at and the only thing that calls save my stuff is a button. A button at the top left of the page that says something about save it or save all, or no, save, whatever, something about the saving. Now let's look at load my stuff. Once we've saved some things using local storage, when we leave the page or refresh the page, we want to come back. We want to still see that it's there. We want to know that it's been saved. So load my stuff does a few things to bring it back. We are using a for loop again, and the for loop goes from here to here. Actually, that's the end of the function. This is the first line of code. For store, For var I equals I less than 371, I plus plus. This is the exact same for loop that we used in the save my stuff. We're going to do this set of instructions 371 times for all 371 text areas that my calendar will have. On the right-hand side of this assignment statement, it's got local storage.getItem, and then in parentheses, key plus I. So using the key that was created in the key value pair, when I did change a value, key 2, for instance, local storage.getItem, key 2, it's going to find the value that was matched to that key value pair, and it's now going to stick it in this variable. So now stored value is going to have whatever the heck I typed in there, hi there, or, you know, whatever I typed. So then when we go to the if condition here, if stored value is not null, means it has a value, it's not empty. If that's true, then we're going to do what's in this if block. And we've got two statements. Now, of course, if it's false, like the very first one, because it's the last day of 2017 and I disabled that text area, when we are looking up key 1, this will be false and this will be ignored. Then we get to the end and then I becomes 2, and in that case, when it's key 2, when we're getting the item with key 2, it will have a value. Then this will be true, and then we will document.getElement by ID job 2.value equals stored value. This is bringing it back. By getting the item, because we have a key value pair, and putting it here, we're taking the value here and sticking it in that text area again, the text area with the value of job 2. After we do that, we take document.getElement by ID job 2.style.color equals blue. So the save my stuff did everything, and then it took the text inside that text area and colored it red. That was what the save my stuff does. The load my stuff will color it blue. Then we have remove my stuff. Well, the first thing that happens with remove my stuff is we give you a confirmation dialog. It's like a alert box, but it's called a confirm. And it's going to pop up. It's going to say, are you sure? Because we're going to click the remove my stuff button, and we want to make sure that's really what they want to do, because remove my stuff, this function is going to delete everything that you've saved. It doesn't matter if you saved one text area or all of them. It's going to get rid of all the information, all the key value pairs will be gone. Well, with the confirm, you have the choice of cancel or OK. And if you click cancel, then the value of this right-hand side of this equal sign will be false, which makes the variable choice false. So then when we get to this if condition, if choice is equal to true, it's going to be false. So this condition is false. When this condition is false, all of this in here between these red curly braces gets ignored. You say, are you sure? And you say cancel. This all gets ignored, and it will go to the else statement, and the else block is from this red curly brace to this one. Now we have an alert pop-up. The alert pop-up just tells you something and gives you an OK button to exit out of it, which this alert box is just going to tell you that no changes were made. Then you click the OK button and the alert box goes away, and then you do whatever you want next, whether you want to leave the web page or you want to maybe jot some notes down, save some more stuff, or whatever you want to do. So, or if you change your mind and you click remove again and it asks you again, are you sure? If the second time you do say yes or okay, then this if condition will be true. Choice equals true. Well, if you click OK, then yes, the value of this will be this, true. If it's true, then we've got our for loop. Now notice how in load my function, we had the for loop here, and then we had the if condition on the inside of the loop. And on save my stuff, we had the for condition again on the outside. And on the inside, we had an if condition. Well, in our remove my stuff, we have the if condition first. And if the if condition is true, then we have the for loop on the inside, because this for loop is going to do something to every single text area, every single local storage key value pair. So the for loop says for var I equals 1, I less than 371, I plus plus. And the loop goes from this curly brace to this curly brace, and it's going to do it to everything. We have document.getElementById, job plus 1 in the first iteration of the loop, job1.value equals, and you have an empty string here, which is nothing. Nothing is going to be there on the text area. Well, for the first one, nothing's there anyway. So that's not really making any changes to the first one. And the same thing with this statement, local storage.remove item, key 1. We don't have a key value pair for that first one because, like I said, I disabled the text area for the first one because it's for 2017. But when we get to the end of the loop and I becomes 2, and I will make a change there, then document.getElementById job2.value is an empty string. Now whatever I had typed in there will go away with this line, and it will also go away with this line. Local storage.remove item, and we use the key to remove it. So in the parentheses we have key plus I, while in the second iteration of the loop it will be key 2. So these are two ways to make sure that whatever's in that text area gets removed. And then it keeps changing the value I, and it just keeps doing this statement 371 times until it clears out every single one. Alright, so that was remove my stuff. Now, notice that each of these functions, save my stuff was from line 1 to 12. That's pretty short. Load my stuff was from line 14 to 24. Another shorty. And remove my stuff was from line 26 to 37. So they're all really short functions, right? Can you imagine if we didn't have this for loop and we had to take some similar code and copy it and paste it 371 times? And instead of saying job plus I, we would type in job 1, and in the next copy and paste we would say job 2, and the next copy and paste job 3, and then this would say key 1, key 2, and key 3 for each time, each copy and paste. How awful that would be. Well, that's why this video is about redundant code. It's not about these particular functions. It's about what I want. I want a new JavaScript function to make my calendar, because my calendar has, again, how many? My calendar has 371 text areas that I manually created in my HTML web page file. and I had to make a few alterations for each one. It wasn't an identical copy and paste, but the pattern was a copy and paste, and 371 times I had to change the job ID, job 1, job 2, job 3, all the way to job 371, and my key. Wait, did I have to set my key? No, I didn't have to set my key because that's what this loop is doing. But you'll see when I open up my HTML file, I have 2,047 lines of code for a very simple web page that's nothing other than a table. So it's awful. So I need to revamp it, make a version 2, some type of JavaScript function that will create the table for me, and hopefully be able to give me the output exactly the way it is now. I mean, I'm not saying that the output is pretty, but I'm saying that the functionality and the way that I have everything, I want a function to do it for me instead of me having to type that much, copy and paste and make changes. Because human error, oh my God, I actually made so many errors and had to go back, and I seen where I thought I had my job 1, job 115, job 116, and then I might have done 118, and I skipped an iteration number, which really screwed up my functions because my functions are not going to make a mistake. They're going to go 1, 2, 3. They're going to get to 113, and if I didn't do 113 and it's looking for it, it's going to cause my function to stink. And yeah, so with that being said, I'm going to go from my nice tidy bulldozer.js JavaScript file with 3 nice little tidy functions to my puke of HTML file. It's not all bad, it's just that particular spot that I just want to automate my table. So let's get rid of the bulldozer. Opening HTML tag, opening head tag. Now head's pretty simple. All we've got is our title and our link to the image icon. And again, I'm not going to read all of this because I want to make this a shorter video. If you need to copy what you see, just hit the pause button on the video. There's the link to the external style sheet. Here's the link to the external JavaScript. And there's the end of the head. Okay, so I'm going to close this up. If you have to rewind, go ahead. I just don't want to read the whole thing. Here's our body. And we have onload equals load my stuff. So when we first open this web page in our browser, the onload, the body's onload event calls load my stuff. It's the first thing that happens because it wants to see if we saved anything from yesterday or last week. All right, and then we have our table. There's our opening table tag. All right, and here's our first table row. Now see, even the first table row is not a big deal. We have a table header tag with 2 buttons in it. Here's a button, input, and again, I'm not going to read the whole thing, but the on click of this save button that has the word save it on the outside of the button, when we click that button, we're going to call the save my stuff Java function. Okay, here's the second button that has an ID of remove button, and this one has the ID of save button. So if we want to stylize it in our external style CSS sheet, we use #save button to give it style, and #remove button to give it the style. And I've already showed you this CSS, so you might even remember these IDs. #save button, #remove button. But anyway, if you click the remove button, it will call the remove my stuff function. Now, I disabled the button because I didn't actually want to use it. I wanted to remove, if I wanted to change a particular day of the year, I wanted to do it one at a time. This is all or nothing, and I didn't like that, so I disabled it. But because I want you to see how it works, I'm going to misspell disabled equals disabled, and when I run it, you'll see it function. All right, so that's all there is in the first table header that's in the first table row. Now all the rest of these headers, because you're up here at the top of the page and you're making this row, and from left to right you've got one table header that has 2 buttons, another table header that has this in it, short for Sunday. There's the table header. It's got a div inside of it with a class set to Z, And in the CSS style sheet, if you go back, the the class Z gives the div a rotation, and so that's what that class Z is for. Now I tried to make this span class equals Z, and it took away the rotation. Div elements or block elements, span elements or inline elements, so that somehow has affected my style. So that's why I've got divs inside of table headers. All right, and the text that you see on the div is indicative of what day of the week that you're dealing with. All right, the next table header is for Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and then you've got the end of the table row. So you see the pattern, and you see the first row was not that bad. It was from line 12 to line 26. All right, now let's see the stuff that makes me loony. I have to create 53 more table rows to create this yearly calendar that uses local storage for every table data cell that has a text area inside. 53 of them. Now, each table row that actually utilizes these text areas goes from line 29 to line 66. Substantially longer than our JavaScript files, okay? And in addition, they're very repetitive. So we already looked at our first row that had all of the headers for the days of the week and a couple of buttons. The second row is going to be the first week of our year. So in our table header tags, I've got a 1 in this because we're looking at the first week of the year. To the right of that, we have a table data cell that has a text area inside. Now, this whole line of code right here, just this highlighted part, is copied and pasted 7 times for 7 days of the week. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7 before we get to our ending table row tag, okay? And this is the next table row that does the exact same thing. And this does the exact same thing for 53 rows. That's a lot of repetition. Let me show you the only thing that's different. For the first text area that we actually see on our calendar, we gave it a unique ID. Now, this is called job 1. It could be called day 1, which actually would probably make more sense because this is a calendar. And this would be, but even still, it wouldn't really make sense because this is not day 1 of 2018. This is just my first table data cell. So I could have just said ID equals 1 and just left it that. But I think by adding some word along with the numbers lets you understand a little bit more when you look at the for loops, how we took in parentheses the word job in quotes and we concatenated it to the I in the for loop. You can see how each time we went through the loop, it was job I, which was the first iteration was 1, the second iteration was 2, the third iteration was 3, and as it's going through this looping process, it's hitting every single one of our text areas in our 371 text area calendar. Now, placeholder puts some information visible to you when you open the page. And this is the date of the very first table data cell, 12/31/17. I don't care about 2017. I'm making a calendar about 2018. I only want to put information in 2018. So I disabled this text area. So this is the opening text area. This is the closing text area. This is the whole thing. If you put the word disabled in the heading in the opening part of the text area, you won't be able to do anything with it. But it's still an important part of my particular web page because every single square that I have has to be identified. Now, in 2019, the very first square available might not be a day from a leftover year. It might actually, it might be the first of the year. And so in that case, we would not disable the first one. In any event, the IDs have to be consecutive because I'm using a loop that actually iterates the counter by 1 for each iteration. So I wouldn't say job 1 and then job 8 and then job 33. I want to do it in order because my looping is going in order. 1, 2, 3, all the way to 371. Okay, so that's different. The date and the placeholder is different. And whether or not the text area is disabled or not is different. So, coming up with a for loop that will do all of my table rows and all my table data cells and all my table headers with its individual job ID and its individual placeholder, and whether it's disabled or not, I'm sure that's probably a way easier, and I'm probably overthinking it. It's probably not as hard as I think. But this is what redundant code means. A bunch of repeated code it's got the same pattern. It only has a few things different from one iteration to the next. And really, 2,047 lines of code for this junk? That's nausea. Here's the very last table data cell, the very last table row, the ending table tag, the ending body tag, and the ending HTML. So I've really covered every little piece of this awful, awful, redundant, ugly HTML web page. Now, with that being said, it does function. I just don't like my code. So let me go ahead and run it for you. All of these here, as you see, those are the placeholders. Those are the text areas placeholders. And if I click on this first one that stands for the last day of 2017, I can click until my finger falls off and it's not going to let me do anything. Now when I go to this one, it's not disabled, so I can type in here. What happens when I type in here is it's going to cover up what the placeholder data was. You're not going to be able to see it once I save that. So I'll just say hi there, right? Very simple. I am going to save it. Turns red. I get the alert box that says hi iteration 2. Hi there. This actually, before this popped up, this actually checked this, and because it didn't have a value, it did the whole loop, and it came and it did the second iteration of the loop. I is now equal to 2. So we have hi iteration 2. There's the space, the colon, and the space, and then the value of whatever I typed, which was hi there. Click OK, and since I didn't save anything else, the pop-up goes away and we're done. Now, if I take this same hi there and copy it all over the place, let's copy one here on the 24th. Let's do another one on February 12th. Let's try 315, 49, 59, 612, 712, 87, 912. This is just getting ridiculous. But and again, I just tried to copy it into here and it refused to let me, and it bounced up here. Why, I don't know, but it did. Alright, now I have made changes in a whole bunch of places. I didn't even really pay attention to where all I saved them. Let's click Save It. Now, this box is going to tell me exactly where I saved them and what iteration of the loop did the job. Hi iteration 2, hi there. That was for this one. Hi iteration 25, hi there. Iteration 44, iteration 75, iteration 100, iteration 130, 164, 194, 220, 256, 298, 339, 352. And if I go down, you'll see everywhere that I copied that high there is now red. Okay. Now, this was another grueling thing, having to test every single one of these text areas. I couldn't take for granted that my code was working properly and that all that long redundant baloney that I typed into my HTML file, that I didn't misspell something or misnumber something. So I literally had to do this. Blah, 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 blah. And I literally typed any old random something or other into every single spot because I had to make sure that none of them failed. They all had to work. And this is something that part of programming is extensive testing of your code. Now this is, you know, this is very simple and kind of childlike testing, but whenever you program anything, you have to think about all the possibilities of failure. And this is kind of a silly example, but in more sophisticated programs, every place that the user can make a decision and put in information, you have to be able to validate that it works and that they can't put something in there that'll screw your code up. And I can't believe I'm wasting time doing this, showing you this, but if you go through and do this code and you try to fill in every single text area and then you run it and you don't have some kind of red message in every single one of these, then you know your code is, something's misspelled somewhere or something is misnumbered somewhere. And this is another reason why turning all of these page elements into something that a JavaScript creates instead of me, that that loop is way more foolproof than me. Oh my god, I thought it was done. I'm not even close to being done. Look at that. Wow. 371. Unbelievable. See, this is why my my videos are so long, because I get this little hair in my butt that I need to like spell everything out so obvious, and it's just kind of ridiculous. Now, I already proved to you that the alert box lets us know about the iteration and the value. So what I'm going to do, so I don't have to watch an alert box pop up and close out of it 371 times, I'm going to go in that code and I am going to comment out that alert. I already know it works, and as long as all of these turn red, then I know that I haven't misspelled or misnumbered anything. All right, let's see. Ooh, I don't even know if can I do this? We're in the middle of that. Let's go into box. Go into the JS, bulldozer.js. Alert, high iteration plus I plus space colon plus space plus value. This is what I want to comment out. I don't want that pop up right now. All right. Oh, I probably should have did that before I put all these numbers in here. Now I think I have to refresh the page. All right. Now you see, just because I refreshed the page, actually everything that I put in here disappeared. So I just screwed myself. But at least my alert box is gone. Wow. I'm not going to do it for everything. I'm just going to do it for these two rows right here. I know it works, but when you do this yourself, you have to test every single one of these, because if you misspelled or misnumbered anything, some of these text boxes will not save for you. Your local storage will be off. All right. Oh, wow, there's still a bunch there. All right, so some of these are, say, I have junk in them and some of them don't. But my alert box should not pop up, which means when I click save it, everything that needs to be saved in one of these text areas will be read without the pop-up box. Okay, so as you can see, I have this little pattern because I was just doing it in the middle, and then some of the stuff was already saved from earlier, and then down here, all of this stuff, all of this saved. Actually, what happens is you can think all your code is good, and of course these will never be read because you cannot change the values of these, and this first one will never be read. But if you get this result, if you put something in every one of these text boxes and you save it, and you get this sporadic result where some things changed red and other things didn't, you gotta look and see what you misspelled or what you misnumbered, because that'll be a surefire proof that something was erroneously typed. So with that being said, did I show you the remove all? God, I've done this video so many times I can't remember. Remove all. Are you sure? Cancel. No changes were made. Okay. Remove all. Are you sure? Okay. It removes everything. And even though it's still red, when I leave this page and come back or refresh it, now it's all black again. So the remove function works, the save all function works, and the load function works. So all I need to do are a few things. I got to revamp, come up with a couple more JavaScripts to make life easier and my HTML file shorter. There was something else I wanted to do. Yeah, I think I want to get rid of this remove all button because it's just ugly. Why have it here and have it disabled unless I want to actually use it? I think another thing I want to do is maybe make this column right here more narrow, because I really don't see the need to have this big fat thing here just for this little one inside. So maybe changing some styles for just these particular elements and make my buttons more narrow, these two buttons more narrow and this more narrow, and possibly some type of bar over the top with a nice image or something that says, 2018 on it or something. So other than some slight visual changes, my biggest thing is not wanting to have to manually make all this mess. 371 times, that was actually aggravating. I'm happy that my program works. I mean, it functions. I just really hate how I had to do it.